All right, hello and welcome. I know we have a bunch of folks joining us and coming on in, so we will go ahead and we will get started here. If you're available to put your happy face on the camera, we'd love to see your smiling face. And I'm going to go ahead and make my screen full size here. And welcome you all once again to our 2025 election Meet the Candidates webinar. My name is Nicole Foss. I'm the current American Cannabis Nurses Association president. I'll start by reading our mission statement, which is to advance excellence in cannabis nursing practice through advocacy, collaboration, education, research, and policy development. A little bit of Zoom housekeeping. If you can remain muted throughout the presentation, that would be excellent. We had a few Q&As submitted through our email out call, so we'll go through those at the very end. If we have time. And then this recording will also be posted on the ACNA election website ASAP for those who are unable to attend the live session. So once again, welcome. This is a really exciting day. We have a huge, gigantic slate of candidates for our 2025 election, the biggest slate to date. And we are so excited by the talent and the awesome confidence and willingness for all of you to step forward and become a potential board member. We're so excited at the possibilities. So this year in our 2025 election, we have 2 board member positions at large. And serving as a board member is a great honor of the ACNA. You help us drive our mission. You help us prioritize our vision and execute all of those things that the cannabis nurse needs to do, wants to do, and help us make an impact in our community. So we're going to get started. Each candidate will have about 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll go through. I will kind of loosely be timing, so I may interrupt you if you continue on for longer than 5 minutes, just so we have enough time to get to everybody. So I'm going to start off first with Wendy.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I want to make sure audio's good. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Hi, my name is Wendy Kreider. I have been an ACA member for 5 years. That's crazy to think. Wow. I was the chair of the research committee for about, I would say, 3 years, almost 4 years before we went into the education committee and made it education research committee. I'm also a member of the DEI committee as of about a year and a half ago. So I'm sparingly in and out of that committee group. I work currently in the Chicagoland area. I'm what is called a nurse scientist, meaning I do research bedside with bedside nurses and promote research in a conglomeration with our Rush University Medical Center and Rush University. So those two come together, and I do a lot of research in that regard. And that kind of leads to what I want to do with ACNA, and kind of my whole background is research and education. And I really feel and very strongly believe that's the direction ACNA needs to head into. Education is key. It's educating our younger groups, our younger members. I just did rounds, overnight rounds the other day, and that was a big, huge issue for a lot of our new grads, especially in states that are currently cannabis legal. It is very difficult for them to find education, information. They really don't know where to go. They really don't know what direction to go into. So for me, that's a huge push with ACNA, especially, our work with ANA. I'm also a member of the ANA groups, and just making sure that we continue to build this relationship with them and build our base and build our growth. I've done a lot of outreach programs with previous board members. Shannon and I did a bunch of outreach in Chicago, the Chicagoland area, meet and greets, in-person meetings. We did a lot of going and speaking. We did the Black Nurses Association. We did the Hispanic Nurses Association and multiple hospitals. Oh geez, yeah. So there it all is.
You don't have to read.
I won't read it to you guys. That you can read. I believe in you. I'm also the going out. I was the American Holistic Nurses Association chairperson for Northern Illinois. it was a labor of love to get that group back up on its feet. And we had our first meeting, and we had some members from ACNA attend to get to meet our AHNA people and kind of build that relationship with the Holistic Nurses Association in that group. And again, build education and build those meaningful relationships. And again, I've had people speak in the Chicagoland area from ACNA, multiple groups, and to our AHNA group in Illinois as well. So I think that's 3 minutes. I didn't want to take up too much time. I know there's a lot of people, and I want to make sure everybody gets heard. So I appreciate seeing everybody there again, being a member for as long as I've been. This is huge and so exciting. And like, I don't even care who wins. I just think it's great. So I think everyone will do a good job.
Me too. Thanks so much, Wendy.
Thanks.
All right, next up we have, well, I know her by Michelle, but Marie Michelle.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much. I am Michelle Zane, and I'm honored to be here and to be among a group of such high-achieving nurses and contributors to cannabis nursing. From what I read and the good-looking faces I saw in the candidate pamphlet, ACNA is in good hands. Well, who am I? And how can I contribute to this powerful organization? My introduction to cannabis nursing came from divine intervention and my mother, who recently passed from dementia. Her affinity to tea led me to cannabis-infused tea, and despite her diagnosis, she was the most peaceful, pain-free, agreeable dementia patient her caregivers have ever cared for. She is why I am here. I would also like to quote Emily Levine, a humorist and writer who said, "Reality comes into being through an interaction." Ain't that the truth, though? This represents my purpose and goal as a board of director candidate. My vision, if given the opportunity, is to be a bridge and guide for cannabis nurses to initiate the conversation within ourselves and each other on this one particular question. What is your superpower? Believe it or not, this question acknowledges one's expertise and passion while inviting ideas for contribution. Nurses are experts in vast fields of healthcare, and with that comes a multitude of applications to the principles of cannabis nursing care. Medical cannabis and care deserve the attention and action from all the different nursing expertise, specialties, and practices, as well as nurse populations. We come from all kinds of areas with a wealth of experience and knowledge, and from diverse cultures, identities, personalities, choices, beliefs, geographies. Yet we all intersect in so many ways. Most significantly here, cannabis nursing. In my journey, I have been a case management nurse for years, and after receiving my cannabis certificate, I applied my new specialty knowledge into my field and created a hybrid program called the Cannabis Care Subject Matter Expert, or CCSME program, in the landscape of healthcare organization. The first one available. I combined the nursing code of ethics, principles of case management, the interdisciplinary team approach, and the cannabis nursing scope and standards of practice. It has been well received and thriving. There is a need. Nurses, we know our patients the best and how to care for them properly. We have untapped ideas on treatments, policies, and patient care that need to be heard and considered. We can create programs, treatment plans, or change previously established norms, and we can continue to do that with our respective fields. And this is why I beg to ask the question, what is your superpower? It is to ignite the creative flame inside each one of us and to accelerate our own journeys into cannabis nursing. My other goal is, just like Wendy, to promote education and awareness of positive effects of medical cannabis through proper use, guidance, and care to produce positive outcomes and harm reductions. How do we do that? This is achieved by having educated and proactive cannabis nurses. We are lucky that ACNA has the experts, pioneers, and educators in the organization already. And we need to continue to develop educational programs for our membership and add to our library of knowledge. These educational programs will also attract other nurse experts interested in cannabis nursing. As Wendy said, currently there is a scarcity on available information about cannabis nursing out there. The information will allow us to grow in numbers and knowledge so we can continue to do our work, decrease the stigma of cannabis use, and strengthen ACNA. A strong, educated membership creates a formidable, sought-after organization. This happens through our intersections and having great interactions. Strong leaders possess traits that include having a clear vision, strong communication skills, and the ability to motivate and empower others. That is what my idea of board of director is, and I hope to show up and be that type of leader. I appreciate you, your time with me, and your contributions to our organization's growing success. I am Michelle Zhang, and I wish you peace. I am happy to answer any questions at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. And next up, we have Renessa.
Yay, all right. Good evening, friends. I first want to thank you for having me. It's an honor to share this space with you all and to be nominated for leadership within the ACNA alongside this panel of amazing women. My name is Renessa Williams. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Miami School of Nursing. I'm also a psychiatric registered nurse, but these days I'm mostly focused on research, and I also consider myself a cannabis nurse scientist. I'm funded by the National Institute of Health to conduct cannabis research right now. But this community, I'm so glad I found it. It's just a place of innovation and inspiration. And I'm deeply grateful to have been a part of it for almost 2 years now, and help contribute to its growth. I'm running for this position because I believe in the transformative power of nursing leadership to advance this field. And I think my vision can just be summarized in three pillars. So advocacy, education, and research, and also inclusion. So when it comes to advocacy, too often, us as cannabis nurses, we walk into rooms, people don't know what cannabis nurses are and what we do. So using our voice to say, we're here, many of us have been doing this work for decades, it's essential. So it was a pivotal moment when ACNA changemakers advocated for cannabis nursing to be deemed a specialty field in 2023 and develop the scope and standards of practice. And I've been proud to have witnessed that and get the courage to conduct research in this area myself. And I've just been able to promote my research at national nursing conferences and collaborating with colleagues in this room, in the Zoom room, and across the discipline to strengthen the evidence base we already have as cannabis nurses and expand awareness. And of course, advocacy is most powerful when it's collective, right? So I'm committed to working in partnership with others in this group to amplify the expertise of cannabis nursing in settings where we're just not typically heard. When it comes to education and research, I can't emphasize it enough, just like Wendy and Michelle said, education is necessary to provide knowledge and confidence to future cannabis nurses as well. So to support this, over the past year, I've been working with the Education and Research Committee. It's been great. Other outstanding cannabis nurses helped me launch this national survey to identify the barriers and facilitators of cannabis nursing. I'm not sure if you guys seen it, but this project really helps bridge the gap between research and education and practice to capture the real world experiences of nurses, cannabis nurses. I also took leadership in launching this survey because I believe cannabis nurses should be at the front line of cannabis patient care. We love our dispensary employees, we love our pharmacists, but cannabis nurses bring that unique and deep understanding of the endocannabinoid system and that credibility of being the most trusted profession. So, if elected, I would love to bring more opportunities to generate research and evidence and just make that vision a reality. And then I'll add a little sub priority is funding. So there's abundant resources at local and national levels. And that ACNA can and its members can benefit from. And just coming from the research world, I'll give you all a secret that there is money out there, there's funding out there that want to partner with nonprofit organizations. And right now it's very highly valued and prioritized at this very moment. So I would love to leverage the opportunities and resources that my institution has and others. So cannabis nurses have, again, this voice in unlikely spaces and are compensated for their time and their expertise. Lastly, inclusion. One of my most impactful experiences has been just serving alongside the members of the ACNA Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I love those women. Our strength lies in our collective experiences from all sectors, and I am dedicated to promoting diversity within and outside of our organization to ensure that underrepresented communities are heard and represented. And I know after COVID, it's been super hard, but it would be a goal of mine if elected to have more in-person efforts to engage older populations, engage nurses from minority serving institutions, and even creating opportunities to hear the voices of those from who are disproportionately affected by the criminal legal system. So I don't want to go over, but I just want to end this by saying, colleagues, this is a pivotal moment for cannabis nursing, and together we can grow ACNA into this beacon of knowledge, of advocacy and inclusion as well. So if given the honor to serve, I will bring an unwavering commitment to this role. And I just thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Renessa. Next up, we have Leslie.
Oh, wonderful. I am just already so in awe right now and a little bit of, excited, just the caliber that we have right now. It's just, this is going to be unbelievable. But a little bit about myself. I have actually nursing is a second career for me. I was a chef for 16 years. I know quite a shift into nursing, but you know what? Honestly, it probably should have been what I should have done from the beginning. I always was so passionate about physiology and sports medicine and all that. So I found nursing again in my 30s. I went back to school and followed that passion. And I'm just so excited just to see kind of the evolution. And so the wonderful thing about nursing is that we can just continue to evolve and we can do things and we can follow passions. And it's just such a wonderful thing. And that's what led me to cannabis. I had been an oncology nurse with City of Hope for many years. And, that just opened my eyes right then and there, right? About just the need and our patients and how beneficial cannabis was. And then taking a personal step into it. My sister was diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. And so just learning how cannabis helped her. And, back then it was quite a few years ago. We didn't have dispensaries that have things to our access. So, there's a friend of a friend who has cannabis and you get some. And I learned how to cook with it and make her edibles to help with her symptoms. Yeah. And so, when I started, really developing into my nursing career from oncology to palliative to hospice, which, just kind of was this natural progression for me that just felt right. It was just kind of hand in hand. That cannabis now become part of that story. And soon as I saw that cannabis nursing was recognized as a specialty, I was so ignited. I was so just ecstatic about pursuing that. And so I was able to get my certificate through Pacific Colleges of Health and Sciences. And during that, I found ACNA and I found, other organizations. And I just started, sponging up all the knowledge that I could. And I really am an educator at heart, just like many of us are here. And I think that just goes such hand in hand with cannabis and getting the knowledge out there and getting that support. It was so cute. I just did a end of life presentation at a nursing AD&M program, and I always add cannabis at the very end because I've done it earlier in my presentation, and it sparks so many questions, and just their hands just go up, right? So I put it I put it towards the end of my presentation because, it definitely, ties in with Ryan's Law and, understanding. And it's so important that our newer generation be, they start out with that knowledge that this is, recognized. This is a pathway for them. They can grow into this. If they don't choose that as a pathway, they certainly need to be knowledgeable in it, because it's the community we serve. So, for them to be well-rounded, they have to have this knowledge. So, that is really what I am most excited about. Becoming a board member is really following up with that education, that advocacy, that support, helping develop a national certification for cannabis nursing, because that just helps legitimize, our specialty and gives us that recognition that's just going to be fruitful through all that we do. And I really enjoy educating our community too. Last year, I did a 4-part educational series for the community and for clinicians. About just, Cannabis 101, because that's really where we need to start, right? Because they don't know anything about the ES system, and it's just really starting from ground zero most of the time with our, our audience. So it's just, that's what I'm really excited about. I know there's so many, panelist candidates that are way more qualified than I am, just as far as your experience. But I'm so eager and I'm so excited to be here. And I think it's really important that we, become members of our, community that we specialize in, so we can grow and advocate and kind of be the front runners of getting all of that information out to the community. Let me see what else. I think that's about it. I'm just really excited, and I hope that I get a board position. But if not, holy cow, this experience has just been amazing, and you ladies are I just can't. You guys are top notch. I don't even know what to say. I'm so blown away, and it makes me more excited to be involved in the ACNA community, because the caliber is just so amazing. So thank you for this opportunity, and good luck to everyone. And I know that we'll be seeing each other through events and things like that. So this is definitely not the last time we'll be interacting with each other.
Thank you, Leslie. Next up, we have Alex.
Hi, everyone. Hi, fellow board members, or I should say fellow board members, but board members, fellow nurses, excuse me. My name is Alex Scoggins. Some know me as Alex Hill. That recently changed. And I am humbled and excited and a little bit nervous to stand before you as a candidate for the board of directors for the ACNA. As many of you have already stated, as nurses, we are really advocates, educators, leaders in our patients' healthcare journeys. And cannabis nursing is an emerging and crucial field. And I really believe it's our responsibility to ensure that this is integrated, but also deeply understood and respected across all specialties. That's why I'm so passionate about contributing to the growth and advancement of our mission to drive excellence in cannabis nursing practice. I look forward to bringing, hopefully, over a decade of experience in long-term care, from bedside to corporate leadership roles in operations, staff development, informatics, quality improvement, risk management, and more. But most thoroughly and most recently, a lot of regulatory compliance to the forefront, and how we can all collaborate in so many amazing ways to help integrate cannabis nursing practice into, again, every specialty and every role. I've been fortunate enough to be able to integrate the scope and standards and cannabis nursing into my daily practice over the past 4 years, and have really seen the transformative impact, like many of you have, but also the challenges and the barriers that we as nurses can face when climbing this journey. I believe that my background has given me the skills and the drive to help lead our association towards a future where cannabis nursing is an integral part of patient care, no matter who the specialty is or what their background is. I have really enjoyed being a part of the research and education committees, and was really fortunate to come in on the very tail end of the credentialing committee right before the scope and standards really got put into place, and just to see that amazing, tremendous effort by so many members to get the scope and standards into play was just monumental, and like you said just before, really driving and energizing for how can we all work together to achieve something great. If elected to the board, my efforts would focus on the 5 pillars that really define our mission. So advocacy, collaboration, education, research, and policy development. There are a few that are really critical that I think will take us to the next level that I'll focus on here, for the sake of time. Cannabis nursing is a field that I've mentioned before transcends many specialties, whether it's oncology, pediatric, psychiatric, and the need for cannabis education and expertise is universal. I think continuing to support our committees, especially around membership and education, to drive our membership and create resources that cater to the nurse that is everywhere, helping them incorporate this knowledge and the power of the endocannabinoid system into their daily practice, both safely and effectively. And education is the heart of what we do. So continuing to grow how we can reach someone, whether they are brand new to the field of nursing or very seasoned professionals. And it's important that we play a central role in capturing and disseminating all of this real world evidence from the amazing work that each and every one of you and many of our members are doing on a daily basis as cannabis nurses, whether that be through structured case studies, forums for sharing outcomes, or collaborative research projects with other healthcare professionals. We can actively contribute to the body of evidence and ensure that cannabis nursing is both grounded in science and in practice, hopefully contributing to better patient outcomes and more informed healthcare decisions, but also a wider acceptance of what could be. One of my key goals will be to provide the necessary support to continue the hard work of the credentialing committee that I mentioned earlier. The creation of the scope and standards of practice for cannabis nursing and the partnership that has been formed with the American Nurses Association is groundbreaking and so essential for our field. We have to continue to build upon these standards, ensuring that they remain dynamic and relevant as the field of cannabis medicine evolves. And again, I'm deeply committed to driving membership and making the ACNA a home for nurses from every specialty. The demand for knowledge is growing across the healthcare system. And so by making a welcoming, inclusive, and supportive space for all nurses, we will equip the broader healthcare community with the expertise that's needed to provide safe guidance and support. This isn't just about growing our association, it's also about ensuring that cannabis nursing is available and accessible to all. So cannabis nursing is at a really pivotal moment. We have the opportunity to shape the future of this field, and I'm really eager to be a part of that journey. And we can continue to work together to push these things forward and advocate, research, and collaborate. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Next up, we have Adelia.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Odelia Hernandez Underwood. And I can't even begin to say how excited and nervous I am to be amongst all of you tonight, and in a space where nurses get it. They get that cannabis is medicine. A little bit about me. I am a mom, a veteran, and I'm a lupus warrior, also living with PTSD. Cannabis has been a huge part of my life. It has changed everything for me. It's helped me get off 12 prescriptions and reclaim my life to allow me to live my life the way I want, and especially to live out my purpose. And that personal healing is what drives my passion for this work. Much of my advocacy has been with the Nebraskans for medical marijuana, so I'm fairly new to the ACNA. Haven't been too involved, but I'm super excited about getting involved. I've had the privilege of talking to legislators, lawmakers, and helping patients, supporting patients and the fight for access for cannabis in a state where it's very restricted. I also serve on a graduate nursing student association as a liaison for my university, the United States University, with the AACN. I went and advocated for nursing on Capitol Hill, and kind of help remind policymakers that nurses, we must have a seat at every decision-making table. And to me, this is what the ACNA is all about, right? Nurses stepping up into our power, being the voices for change, and pushing for policy that reflects, like I said, what we already know, that cannabis is medicine. And somebody mentioned before, we are the ones who understand our patients' needs. We are there to fill the gaps in care. And we have the knowledge, right, to shift toward the integration into healthcare. So that's a really huge thing, to be able to integrate cannabis medicine into our healthcare system. One thing I am especially fired up about is, and I'm sure all of you guys feel the same, is getting the Cannabis Nursing Board certification established. So I feel like I want to be a part of that, and you know, all of this. So if whether or not I become a board member or not, I really would like to be a part of making that happen. I also want to help other nurses feel empowered to step up into advocacy and to lead with confidence. So I'm really committed to mentorship and growth. I'm currently working on my master's in leadership and education because, like I said, you know, we are here to build each other up, and I think we really need to push that through. Finally, and this is very close to my heart, is representation matters. Our patients, somebody also said it, they come from all walks of life, right? And so do we. So as a Mexican-American woman, a veteran, and someone living with chronic illness, I know firsthand how important it is for like diverse voices to be represented in these leadership roles. So my vision to help the ACNA is to keep doing what it's doing, right? Advancing excellence in cannabis nursing through advocacy, education, collaboration, and policy, while also making sure, you know, that we are showing up in spaces that we have not been invited to. And I just want to share with you, I'm super excited about doing that. Come next month, I will be speaking at the Nebraska Nurses Association conference, and I will be talking about my personal story with cannabis and sharing it with fellow nurses. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I feel very blessed to be here with all of you, and you just don't understand how awesome it is to see this many nurses who are so gung-ho about cannabis as medicine. So again, thank you again.
Thank you. Next up, we have Sammy.
How do I even follow all of this? I am so excited. Hello, everybody. My name's Sammy Pyle. I have been a nurse for about 20 plus years. I've been in healthcare since I was 16, both as a nurse assistant and a nurse. I am that bedside nurse, okay? I specialize in critical care, PACU, and now I'm in same-day surgery. And then I also have my side cannabis education going. So how I really got into cannabis nursing was I was suffering from PTSD. I was the COVID ICU nurse. I was the travel nurse for 17 years. I've traveled all over the country, and I was diagnosed with PTSD after COVID. How many of us out there have, you know, that's happened to us? So survivor's guilt, PTSD, insomnia, anxiety, all the things. I was given all the prescriptions and chose a different route. I chose cannabis. And really, once you start diving in, it's a rabbit hole, right? We all know that. So, so drove down the rabbit hole, went to Pacific College, met my people, and then came to this ACNA conference in Denver a couple of years ago. Holy cow. If you've never been in a room, like there's a Zoom meeting, I'm very happy to be here, but to be in a room with people that think the same way that you do, to find your tribe, you know, it brings tears to my eyes, literally chills as we speak. So to even be here amongst this, I have no problems anymore telling my story. I know I'm not the only nurse out there that suffered from PTSD. I know I'm not the only nurse out there that's still at the bedside, still having these conversations. But the difference now is that I have no problems talking about my story and talking about the medicine that saved my life. So I am still a nurse at the bedside. I work in a level 1 trauma center in a same-day surgery area. And I have a little bit of a little speech that has me asking people about my business. So, and asking about cannabis and asking about nursing. I am very well known throughout my hospital as the cannabis nurse. And my goal going into ACNA and the board of directors is we need to reach those bedside nurses. They need to be equipped with the tools and the power and the empowerment and the confidence to have these conversations. It doesn't mean that you use cannabis. It means that you're educating on a medication, period. I had somebody tell me that a long time ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it clicked. We are educating on a medication, period. So my goal as an ACNA board of directors would be educating and empowering those bedside nurses, getting into those spaces where we need to educate those people and have the conversations. Another goal of mine that's super huge is to have another ACNA convention, to have another place where we can all get together. I currently work in a professional organization called We Are Jane in the state of Missouri, and I organize conferences, I organize events. So that is something I'm super passionate about, is another ACNA meeting of the mind. So those are my two big things moving into the board of directors. I am honored to be sitting here. I look across this panel. I follow you people on social media. I follow you nurses. We're making strides. We're making the leaps. We're making the bounds. We're doing the things. No better organization than ACNA to move this thing forward. No better organization to be prominent in the hospitals, in the places where we're not supposed to be having these conversations. Let's break through and let's make this happen. All right. So I could go on and babble, but that's where I'm going to stop, because I could keep going on, and I'm trying really hard not to cry right now. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm fully blessed to even be this far. I am very thankful for you all and the nomination.
Thank you. Next up, we have Laura.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Wow. I too, I'm grateful to be here and to be on the nomination list, and even more grateful to just sit and listen to everyone else and the stories. And those of you that I know better than others, I'm so proud of you. Good job. And I'm sad that few of you that I feel like I don't really know. I just feel like we have this ACNA organization. You've been a member, I've been a member, and where are we missing each other? I think we can get so narrowed into the little things that we do routinely that we miss each other. So I'm just grateful to hear your stories. I have been around ACNA and Cannabis Nurses Network and all the things for a long time now, practicing in cannabis nursing for 10 years and supporting myself fully with cannabis nursing for the past 6 years. So I just want to say to those of you that are not doing that at this time that it is possible. It's not easy, but it is possible. And sometimes that's a big focus of when I have the opportunity to talk to groups of nurses. I just want to make sure that we know that we are worth what we ask to be paid, and that we deserve to get paid for this type of consultation. Although that really isn't my primary thing for this speech, but I just, since you're here, I want to say that. And really, like everyone else has said, and I did prepare something, but I just don't feel a reason to share it. I very much believe in what everyone else said, how important it is for us to get cannabis education into all of nursing, in schools, in hospitals and healthcare. I'm so blessed, having worked at Hopkins for many years. Once I left Hopkins, I have had the opportunity to teach Hopkins nurses. It is unpaid. It is one of the unpaid things, but to do like an in-service every year on cannabis and pain for the pain nurses at Hopkins, it just happened to be yesterday. And it just blows my mind every year that they have no idea. They just have no idea. And they're so eager to have more information. And so the work that we're doing is so important. And I'm so grateful for the pillars of ACNA, because I've pretty much worked in all of them in the past 10 years, done legal work, policy work. I'm involved in research. I'm involved with the University of Miami and in multiple groups, including groups for people that don't look like me. And it's also important. All the work we're doing is so important. And I just want to say that because there are so many of you that are newer and so eager, I am feeling really called to just withdraw my nomination. I want there to be more opportunities for more people that I have already heard from on the screen. I'm so blessed to be on the board of many things and to have lots of opportunities. And I will speak up and I will continue to participate in the education committee and do all the things. But I want you guys to have even more chance. Not that I'm saying that I thought I would have, but it just, I want there to be a smaller pool to vote from because you guys deserve an opportunity. Thank you so much for your willingness to put your name in the hat. And I'm just going to stay here and listen.
Thanks, Laura. I'm not sure how to react to that, but thank you. And I understand your sentiment. It's really exciting to have such a big slate of qualified, but also a lot of new air, right? New breath into ACNA, and that's really exciting. So I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll keep on going. We've got Drew up next.
How are you, Laura? What leadership was that? That was so dope. Thank you. You're so graceful. I was like, okay, I guess I go after that. Good evening. I may have met a lot of you guys 2 years ago in Colorado. I actually happened to be a nurse that became a patient over 10 years ago. And I was in the cannabis business side and participating in a NECAN conference in Boston when nurses in the room walked up to me after I did my panel and said, have you heard of ACNA? And that's how I kind of became familiar with the organization. And then I was invited to speak in Colorado, where I did 2 sessions from healer to dealer as I pursued my licenses in the state of Massachusetts as a cannabis business owner. And then life just kept lifing. I've exited out of the businesses and really started focusing on policy because my cannabis story goes back to becoming a patient and how difficult it was to get the medicine. I was living in the state of Georgia. I was a homeowner in a county where I had to be a legal gun owner, and that kept me exempt from being a cannabis medical card holder. And after 6 months of med trials, my therapist finally looked at me and said, have you considered cannabis? Like, this is not working. And my mother's a pastor. I had my own bias against the plant. So I think as much as we talk about education, I think we need to peel back just one more layer and really speak to the education that brings the biases and just really collapses them across cultures. I am from South America and the Caribbean. And just even for me to become a patient took a lot of communication from people who actually cared about trying to help me achieve some sort of normalcy after battling postpartum depression. And that journey alone, going down the rabbit hole and learning about the plant, and then the struggle of having to find a dealer because I couldn't go and get cannabis legally. That was probably one of the scariest things as a young mother of 2. I was like, am I going to die? Like, what's going to happen? It was a real life experience, and it made me really passionate about patient access. In my current role as a director of nursing and long-term care, I have also had to take cannabis away from residents who live there, even though I work in a legal state. And I think to me, that's probably one of the most heartbreaking things to do when you have to kind of guide somebody back to the medications that they've successfully taken themselves off because they're entering a long-term space where the policies are not written to support them self-medicating, where the policies are not written to support the nurses who work there and have job protection, and the providers that are in the building as well. My advocacy began from the business side in cannabis and quickly turned into the medical side in cannabis. And I serve as the patient access advisor for the Parabola Center. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but it was started by 3 cannabis advocates, one being our former Cannabis Control Commissioner in Massachusetts, Shalene Title. And they do a lot of work to really focus on policy that puts people over profits. And at times in the business side, people over profits doesn't mean patients over profits. And I have to kind of keep bringing it back to these people are patients. And that also in the policies that need to be written need to consider the people, the patients, all over the profits, the research all over the profits. and really anchor in the fact that we are dealing with a medication and that this medication needs to fully integrate into a healthcare ecosystem that is not very welcoming. We need to start at documentation. We need to start changing our admission databases, because every time you admit to cannabis use as a patient, you get a psych consult, and then you get a cannabis use disorder. And there's a lot of things that are not happening from the entire throughput and the essentially the patient's journey through the healthcare system. We just we're not getting it right. And I think there's two things that are really important: educating the nurses before they even get out of school and really focusing on education for our new grads, but really reaching out to those bedside nurses, because they're the front line. And if they still carry a bias, they're part of the barrier to getting the access to the residents and to the patients. And I've had to do so much education just for the team to say, this is medicine. Like, the way that we talk about cannabis patients once they disclose it really builds distrust and mistrust in our entire healthcare system. I also serve on the ASTM D37 Cannabis Subcommittee, and I chose the Terminology Committee because language matters, and that committee is focused only on packaging and how to use this medicine in products, but they're not thinking about what that language is going to mean when we start to integrate with our healthcare systems, and what it means to have clarity of product, and what it means to define something as 100% or full spectrum, and how it's going to interact. So it's really important that although we continue to advance practice and build cannabis nurses, that we also think that outside of the box and all the things that are going to have to interact in our ecosystem, our healthcare system, and how this is going to impact payments and insurance, how it's going to impact licensing and job protection, and how it's going to impact all the other things that we don't always think about that are part of the business of nursing. And that's what I hope to bring to the table as a leader, as a business owner, as a nurse, and as a patient. And it's a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight. And I hope we have another conference. Yay.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Linda. Linda, you're muted.
There, let's try that. Is that better? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep me in line there. Okay. Good evening again. I've been a dedicated member of American Cannabis Nurses Association for 5 years. I think I'm really not positive. But the membership has allowed me to engage with a community of professionals committed to advancing evidence-based cannabis education and practice, while contributing to the integration of holistic and innovative approaches in nursing care. I don't know anybody else. I don't really have any, how can I say, friends, nursing friends that I can really discuss or kind of brainstorm cannabis with. How can I say this? About 4 or 5 years ago, everyone decided to go to NP school, and they go, "Don't you want to be a nurse practitioner?" I go, "No." I am pursuing, and that's I always like, if everyone goes this way, I'm going that way. I go, no. I worked at the VA and all the patients. That's how I got interested in medical cannabis, because the VA took all veterans off all narcs and benzos about 10 years ago or so, and they kept telling me how beneficial and effective it was. So when I got my second master's, I decided, I told Sully, I'm going back and I'm going to find out how and why this stuff really works. So I have gotten 3 certifications in medical cannabis, but I just feel like I think Ralph Manchula said it the best. He'd been studying cannabis nursing for 50 years, and every day he learned something new. And I still have a lot to learn, but that is one thing that I really find very exciting and innovative. I've served on the research committee for the past 3 years. I contribute to advancing evidence-based practice, professional development, and academic growth within nursing In this role, I supported article reviews, evaluated research proposals, and engaged in collaborative discussions. My work enhanced educational resources and promoted innovation in nursing practice. Recently, the committee merged with the Education Committee, so I continue to contribute my expertise and commitment to the area. This transition presents new opportunities to enhance research initiatives for nurses, students, and the broader healthcare. I am an adjunct professor at a couple universities here in Florida. One of them is Florida Atlantic University, and how can I say, when it's, I got friendly with somebody that he was president of Sigma, and he's teaches nursing research, and he found out that I had done a presentation on medical cannabis. I don't even remember. I don't know. It was several years ago, and so he, Nicole is Dr. Sariega, and so I have been honored and privileged that he has considered me part of his research team. So I did assist him in a presentation he did in, I think it was May, for Broward. It was on substance abuse in general. There was, he does do research on medical cannabis. Like I said, I am, he's always getting grants. We're applying for something. I just tell him, just tell me what to do. I'll do whatever you tell me. And in fact, I'm nominating him. I'm so excited for International Nursing Researcher for Sigma next summer. So, because he is a true researcher at heart. Being part of the American Cannabis Nurses Association has been both meaningful and inspiration for me. As a nurse for many years of experience, I have witnessed firsthand the challenges patients face when seeking safe, informed practice on cannabis use for symptom management and overall wellness. My membership with ACNA has allowed me to contribute to a movement that is transforming nursing practice through advocacy, education, research, and policy development. One of my motivating factors, I guess you would say, because I usually don't usually apply for national organizations, but I just felt God moved me or something to say, because I've been attempting for the last 3 or 4 years to, in fact, when I was applying to Pacific College, I asked Dr. King, she was the Dean of Nursing at Palm Beach Atlantic, that if they would be willing to pay for my tuition for Pacific College. And being the graceful, kind person, she said, oh, well, just send me an executive summary, which I did. Of course, I never heard from him, but that didn't stop me. But that's part of my goal, to incorporate, at least in the endocannabinoid system and some medical cannabis into nursing curriculum. And I'm not quite sure. I fear having a national organization kind of behind me and brainstorm with me, because I think that's, and I do mention it, when I do mention it to students, I have done presentations. I'm a psych nurse. During one of didactic lectures I wasn't doing, but Dr. O asked me if I would do a presentation on substance abuse with that on medical cannabis. I remember one of the students said, oh, that was the best lecture we ever, people paid more attention, I think they said, to that lecture than anything else. I said, I'm sure it wasn't my presentation. It was probably the content that I think they're just yearning to find some information and clarification. And when I tell them, no matter what your personal perspective is on it, as nurses, I feel we have a responsibility as a patient advocate, when our patients ask us or need more information, that we at least have a basic understanding, as we were just, everyone's been saying, to educate them and not, I do a group, that's why I was late getting in here on Wednesday evening, on veteran group. And I told them I was doing this presentation. They said, oh, y'all going to sit around and get high? I go, no, these are highly scholared nurses, this medical cannabis. So and that's another thing I just like, sometimes I just want to like burst out when I'm in a hospital or something, and they, they stereotype patients about medical cannabis, about using cannabis and whatever. So education of staff and patients, I think, is really, really important. I have contributed to engaging in committee work where I collaborate with colleagues to review research, exchange ideas, and explore ways to strengthen evidence-based cannabis education. These opportunities have expanded my knowledge while also enabling me to support ACNA's effort to provide accurate, reliable information to nurses and patients. Equally important, I have embraced advocacy by helping to reduce stigma and encouraging open conversations about cannabis and healthcare. I believe every patient deserves compassionate, non-judgmental guidance, and ACNA mission aligns perfectly with that vision. My contributions reflect my deep commitment to advancing the field of cannabis nursing. By contributing to learn, share, and advocate, I aim to ensure that nurses remain leaders in this rapidly growing and vital field of practice. And I think healthcare in general is, in a way, seeing the light, and that seeing, because I do clinicals with students with psych, and I say, listen, if you don't be a psych nurse, that's fine. But as nurses in general, we're all psych nurses, whether we want to be or not. You can't really escape that. So, with cannabis, I just think it's important that they have a basic understanding and respect of the plant and the wonders and the greatness that it does in serving our patients in the future.
Thank you, Linda. Next up, we have Bridget.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Great. It's nice to meet everyone. I'm happy to be here. I've really enjoyed hearing about everyone's journey and to cannabis nursing. I've been a member of the American Cannabis Nurse Association since November of 2023. I was thrilled when it officially became a branch of the ANA and the scope and standards of practice were developed. Over the years, I've enjoyed various presentations, cannabis news updates, and member profiles. Areas of specific interest to me are federal reclassification, legalization, strain-specific treatments, and the use and approach to harm reduction specific to treating addiction. In Massachusetts, I've promoted the message of the ACNA across my experiences and practice with peer nurses and patients. In Massachusetts, we've had access to medical cannabis since 2016. My first encounters with cannabis and nursing were actually conversations initiated by my patients teaching me about the benefits they were experiencing rather than the other way around. And I knew I needed to learn more. Over the years, ACNA has offered me a lot of opportunities to learn and grow as a cannabis nurse educator. I would be honored to be elected to the board and be at the forefront of incorporating cannabis education into our toolbox of interventions and help solidify its place in the nursing profession. I've been a nurse for the last 15 years. I entered the profession after a career in social work. And I've also grown cannabis for over 10 years. I've done a lot of research about different strains and the effects and ways to manufacture and process and different ways to ingest and administrate it in the body. Through my experiencing as a nurse and a cannabis cultivator, I would bring a vast amount of knowledge and experience to the board. I eventually turned my hobby and became a licensed cultivator in my state. And I have extensive knowledge about policy and the inner workings of how the municipality, state, and federal laws and regulations all intertwine. And in making sure to incorporate safe practices. Safety has always been a focus of mine, with a background in psych nursing. It's just part of the foundations of the way I approach things. Some leaders stand at the front and point to everybody in the right direction to get to a goal, but I find it's just as important to push from behind. The nursing profession is forever changing. It's not stagnant. And as a nurse leader, you have to be able to lead through that change. So as a nurse and as a cultivator, I would offer a valuable perspective to the ACNA board. My nursing practice has long incorporated cannabis, and I'm passionate about expanding cannabis access and education to my patients and to others in the medical profession. Some say that we grow the plant, but I think that the plant grows us. I think it raises us to new revelations. It helps us break through barriers. And I think most importantly, it gives us hope to be able to help our patients more. So it's been a privilege to hear everyone's presentations this evening and to be part of this group. And I look forward to connecting with you all in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bridget. All right, believe it or not, that's everybody. So much talent, so much excitement. I'm so grateful you are all here today to share your stories, share what you can bring to the board. Yes, Sammy, I just saw you clapping. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause. Such talent. I'm so excited. I'm going to go through the election next steps. It's fairly simple. All of our active members will be receiving an email from a program called Election Buddy. We've used this in the past. It's a secure platform that actually allows you to get some reminders and only vote once. It's very secure. So we're going to be utilizing Election Buddy after we had some great success with it last year. Voting is going to open on September 15th, and we are going to keep it open for a month. And this is a change from last year where we kept it open for 2 weeks. We really want to allow everybody to vote, but we are encouraging you to get your votes in early so you remember, but you will be getting some reminders in case you forget. So lots of emails coming encouraging you to participate in this vote, participate in this election. We have a huge slate, so it will come down to a few votes, I am sure. So make sure that you know that your vote counts. I'm going to go through the election timeline. We've got lots of green check marks, which if you know me and know I love a green check mark, we've got it done. We've crossed it off the sheet of paper. So we are at the start of open voting and then the close of voting on the 15th. On the 16th, we're going to notify the applicants and do confirmations. That is our nominations committee. And probably before November 15th, but we're going to give ourselves a little time. We'll be announcing to the membership at large who are selected as the 2 board candidates to join us next year. And then those 2 new members, they'll be joining us in December to do some mentorship with our current board. And then officially they start on January 1st, 2026. I want to say thank you to our 2025 sponsor, Grow It From Home. And I want to say thank you again to all of our candidates for stepping up, sharing your stories, sharing your skills with ACNA. I'm so excited for this election and we will be in touch very soon. So thank you all again and one more big round of applause.